Big one. Wanna Doodle doo doo. Doodle doo doo. Grinding some long bottom leaf from the South Farthing, dude. You've heard of Young Marble Giants before? They're one of Kurt Cobain's favorite groups. I have heard them, yes. I think. Yeah. It was due to Kurt Cobain's interest that I got into the meat puppets. He covered Lake of Fire on the MTV, Nirvana MTV Live thing. He also covered Plateau, which is another Meat Puppets song. Nothing at the top but a bucket and a mop and an illustrated book about birds. See a lot up there, but don't be scared. Who needs questions when you got words? Oh, me? Yeah, you're right. Smoking some meats. Just smoking some meats right now, Pelsigo. Can employees abuse customers? Absolutely not. Not on my watch, anyway. I had a very clearly defined line where it's just like, I understand people getting frustrated or whatever. Maybe even getting a little salty about it. But the minute you started, like, dehumanizing somebody in my store, your ass didn't get your coffee that morning. You got to go to work salty. And I would just straight out tell people, you know what the funny thing is when you confront people who are like being extraordinarily rude to other people and being self-serving and stuff, you think that you would often get like this angry reaction, and I'm not saying that you don't. Sometimes you do get that angry, salty reaction, but for the most part, people being called on it like actually forces them to think about what they're doing, especially if you do it in front of other people. Like typically a customer would, like the few times it happened to me over the course of my years doing public customer service or whatever, most of them are just immediately like embarrassed because they know that it's not just them that's hearing the condemnation, it's everybody else in the store. And so I've just basically, like, I would tell them, I'd be like, you're being incredibly rude, and you need to calm down if you want your coffee. There's absolutely no way that you're going to talk to people the way that you're talking to people in here. And if they kept going, they were just ejected. You know what I mean? Depending on how quickly they went to it, and how much anger and angst and immediate fucking bullshit went into it, they just get, you don't get your fucking coffee today because you came in here and called somebody a cunt. And I'm going to remember your face. You're not going to get your coffee tomorrow either. No, absolutely not. Customers should not be allowed to verbally or mentally abuse anybody. nobody in customer service is getting paid to be verbally abused by people. So that used to be one of the things that I would say most often to people like that, and it seemed to work. I said, nobody in here is getting paid to be verbally abused. Nobody in here is being paid to have you come in and verbally abuse them. So you need to leave. Oh no, get out of here. And then they've got like not only the pressure of me telling them to get the fuck out, but the pressure of everybody else in line behind them not wanting to sit and wait for their coffee because this person couldn't control their temper. And so usually they just storm out. Oh, fuck. Get out of here. But you go down the street to the Starbucks that lets people verbally abuse people or whatever, you know, that ain't here. What did you consider verbal abuse? Was one word enough for men? No, like I said, you know, people get a little shitty, a little rude, a little salty or whatever. It was when people, you know, would unload. You know, that's one thing to say, like, can you fucking just make me a drink or whatever. Like, I tell people to calm down in that instance, but, you know, they start fucking unleashing a tirade against one of my employees or me or something in front of everybody, like there's some kind of enforcer or some shit. It's over for them. They're walking out with no coffee. They're going to work with a real shitty attitude. And we'll see how that turns out for them. We'll see how many people at work put up with being talked to that way. At their work. High quality episodes recently on DFF. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No shit. What do you think I do? Caffeine. Sometimes can't tell who has more power in the interaction, the guest or the employee. The employee. The guest doesn't get to dictate terms, the employee does. So as much as people want to feel like they're being waited on and served, you know, it's all contingent on their good behavior and their willingness to be a fucking polite, normal human being. People started acting like babies, started acting like, you know, angsty little babies. They got sent out to go into timeout. Did you get a lot of Karens when you worked at Starbucks? I guess, yeah. Karens are pretty... The Karen drink, by the way, is the caramel frappuccino. It's the instant Karen spotter. Dude, it could be 20 below. Fucking snowing. And a Karen is going to pull up and get a caramel frappuccino. It's the drink. It's the Karen siren song drink. Causes all the Karens to come out of the woodwork. They can't get enough of the caramel frap. Your wife gets that. Uh-oh. You think there's places in the U.S. with more Karens per capita? Yes. Well, just think about how Karen thinks. Karen's like cheap bougie. And I know that seems like a contradiction, but it's a total thing in the United States. Starbucks is cheap bougie. It's like people consider it to be like bougie, but it's basically a McDonald's. You know what I mean? Same thing goes for, like, I'll give you another example of a cheap bougie place. Panera Bread, right? That's a Karen. Dude, Panera Bread is a Karen magnet. because they think they're getting some kind of like artisanal sandwich or some shit. You know, that's just the way it works out. So Karens are, yep, they're attracted to cheap bougie experiences, and oftentimes there's a heavy lingering expectation that they're going to be treated like some kind of fucking Princess Di or something when they walk in to get their coffee. And there really is like this meme kind of passed around the United States, and you hear it all the time when you're a worker that works with front-facing people. The customer is always right, right? And that meme was supposed to be something that guided the hands of an employee to make sure that if a customer had an issue, that the issue was solved satisfactorily so that the customer would come back again, right? It doesn't mean that the customer is always right literally, because if a customer comes in and, you know, whips his penis, he's definitely incorrect, you know. So, but see, the problem is that people, most of them and many of them who don't have the empathy that comes with working front-facing customer service, they heard that and they thought that it meant that businesses had a policy of allowing people to verbally abuse their employees because you're having a bad day, because you're the customer, and god damn it, you're always right, even when you're being a complete asshole. And it's a shame that there are people that don't know how to run a business that allow that sort of thing to go on. I've worked at stores where I wasn't in charge of being the one that goes, hey, psh, get the fuck out. You're not talking to people like that. And I've watched store managers just let people run roughshod over their employees. And I'm just like, man, nobody in here is getting paid enough to listen to this bitch's mouth. There's a line. You know what I mean? I was not like trigger happy with the kick out. I was willing to fucking meet a person on an equal playing field and try and, you know, solve whatever their problem was. If we made a drink wrong, remake it for you. You know, if you're real upset about it, here's a free drink coupon to come back. You know, I had all the tools. And I was willing to do my part to de-escalate and be understanding that somebody was having a bad day. But as soon as it went past that point, from I'm just a little salty and angry that you know, my time was wasted because you mismade my drink, you forgot this, you forgot that. As soon as it went from that to I'm gonna verbally abuse you or one of your staff, your fucking ass is gone, and your drinks stay with me. Bye. Bye. The fuck out. Budget royalty, yeah.
That and like there's this trend lately too where like people are like whipping out guns and shit over fast food
Oh yeah.
stuff.
It's like fast food. I genuinely believe that like genuine fast food restaurants, like McDonald's, Starbucks, these places where you go through a drive-through, you get your food. I'm not saying the entire reason that they exist and exploded the way that they did is because of this, but I do think that one of the main reasons that these places exploded is that people who don't have a lot of money don't have a lot of outlets for feeling that they are righteously indignant and then taken care of. And so these cheap eateries and cheap coffee shops and stuff provided a venue for people who maybe never once at any point in their life get to stand up for themselves, to go in and have somebody on a rung below them. And you can spot these people a mile a fucking way. It's the truth for most people that walk in the door, but there are people that know it, that come in there with this on their sleeve. Like, I come in here and you have to roll out the red carpet for me. You have to listen to me when I'm salty to you. You have to take my insults. You have to let me treat you like a piece of shit because the customer's always right. Blah, 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 blah. I genuinely think that the rise of these types of restaurants and stuff, it has something to do with that.
'Cause you gotta sit down one. You don't get anything any faster if you're an asshole.
Right. And there, I mean, a lot of people at sit down restaurants will treat their waiter or waitress
Mm-hmm.
like a piece of shit too. So,
But it's not as like convenient. It's
right.
not like you can stand right
People
there.
think that they can
Yeah.
just quickly come in and tell you go fuck yourself and get a hamburger and leave. And then
Yeah.
they leave feeling a little better. And the person that soaked it up leaves feeling a little more bitter about humanity. But they don't care about that. Yeah, I mean, most people, and this is like something you may not hear from other salty people that worked a lot of years in customer service. Most people are kind, nice, busy. You know, if they come off a little rude, it's probably because they're having a bad day or they're just in a real rush or they got a million things on their mind or something. Most people are genuinely okay people. You know, I don't mean to make it seem like every person that walked through that door was a problem like this, but you know, they're out there, man.
And in a way, it's attention too. You remember those people that are assholes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
This whole like fucking like reality shows and stuff. You remember the assholes.
Mm. Yeah, I just got done telling you, like, it's not every customer that comes through that's an asshole. It's just 2 or 3 a day, you know, you gotta be dealt with. I once worked in a restaurant pool hall with one guy. Kevin refused to believe that he didn't pay for his 7th chicken tender basket that he did for his party, and he took that all the way to the manager. Well, I don't know. You notice I'm not telling you guys specific incidences because it would involve a bunch of crap that you guys don't understand why it's an imposition. You know what I mean? And why it's even an issue. I talk in generalities about it because if I were to just explain to you like what one of these things were, you would have to be a Starbucks employee to really understand what was at stake, usually. Manage a grocery store and I just lost my best employee after a lady screamed at her for 20 minutes and threatened to call the cops on her. Why was a lady allowed to scream at one of your employees for 20 straight minutes? Was there a manager on duty? Because I'm telling you that shit doesn't last up 30 seconds. I hear somebody in my fucking store raising their voice at an employee like that, or I hear of it. That's my number one priority right now. I'm dropping whatever paperwork I'm working on, and I'm walking straight out front to deal with this. And if this person will not calm down and just take whatever their food is and get the fuck out, they're gone. There's absolutely no way, and I don't blame your best employee for leaving either. There's no support for that employee if she's allowed to be berated verbally for 20 minutes by a psychotic customer. I'd quit too. Nobody's paying anybody to be put in that position. So yeah, total and utter failure of shift management or upper management or mid-level management. Customers are allowed to abuse employees because managers are too scared to confront them. It's a nationwide problem. Not this manager. I never once was afraid to confront a single person. If you were acting like an asshole in my store, I cared more about the mental well-being of the people that I worked with than I cared about your shitty day. I never had a problem. Never ever one time did I go like, oh, I really don't want to see you. I don't care who you are. Acting like an asshole, you can get fucking stuffed. Or find somebody else to take out all your aggression on and shit. Get a customer that comes in every week, the piece of shop I work in, and tips everyone at the store $5 because customer service pays off, but rarely. I mean, yeah, like I said, dude, I'm not talking about any of the good customers that we have because those aren't as interesting a story, but there were a lot more memorable regulars that were, you know, nice or at least, you know, just cordial or whatever, and they were cool and they would joke with us and stuff. There were a lot more people like that than there were shitty people. It happens pretty much every day in New York City. Yeah, happened pretty much every day where I worked. Pretty much every fucking day, there'd be somebody, 1 or 2, 10 fucking people. Some days that just came in and just had a shitty fucking attitude. Had to be dealt with like a baby. I love how people will try and stall too when you kick them out. That was always my favorite thing. Because they would be like, "You're a fucking bitch, fucking stupid. What are you, an idiot? You can't fucking make a drink." And I go like, "Hey, you're not talking to her that way. Get the fuck out. Get out. Go, go, go." And then at that point they'd go like, "What's the number to customer service?" Like you're gonna give them that information now that they've been calling somebody a cunt in your store. I tell them, you can look that up in your own time. Get on the internet. Go to the library if you don't have the internet and look it up. Get out. This is not a negotiation now. You're out. And don't come back in here either. I see you come back in here, I'm gonna do this to you. And that means turn around and walk back the way you came, yeah? Go. There are people that think they're gonna sit and stall it out, like, I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna cuss you 5 ways from Sunday. And then when I'm called on it, I'm gonna turn it into a customer service matter. No. No. You forfeited your right to have any kind of access to any kind of amelioration of your problem as soon as you called somebody a cunt. Now your dumb ass gets to turn around and walk out without a coffee. I probably did that to 100 people over the course of my Starbucks career, and I never one time was talked to about it by an upper level management or a district manager or something. Every last one of these people says, "I'm going to escalate this. I'm going to call your man." Whatever. Get out and go do it. I don't want to hear your mouth while you do it. Never once did I even have somebody above me call me and talk to me about somebody. So. I had to call the police on one guy one time. A little Asian dude. A little kind of like older Asian guy. Came in, ordered his drink. I was working the register that day. Came in, ordered his drink. He paid with a 10, and I gave him change of a 10. Those of you that have never worked front customer service, you may not know this, but because of robberies and safety and shit, when you get a 20 at one of these, there's usually a locked box that an employee doesn't have a key to where you put those 20s. At least that was standard practice at Starbucks. You didn't put your 20s in your till. You didn't need 20s for change. We didn't take $100 bills, so 20s were like a big denomination. You don't keep a big fat stack of them in your till. You put them through the slot that the manager on duty has a key to, and at the end, they unlock it, and you take out all your money to go count your till. Yeah, we don't take hundreds, so there was never a well, I say we like I'm still a Starbucks guy. We never took hundreds when I worked there. It was always a store policy that nothing above a 20. But anyway, so dude paid me with a 10. I put the 10 in my till, and a 10 is like an unusual denomination to get. You don't see a lot of, I mean, it's not like totally weird, but it's an unusual denomination. So there's usually only one in your till if you've got one. Somebody has a 10. And so the guy pays his money, pays me with a 10. I give him change of a 10. And he goes, "Hey, you gave me the wrong change." And I said, "Okay." And I looked at it, and I looked at the change in his hand, and I was like, no. Here's how much it cost. I printed out his receipt, and I said, "Here's how much it cost. Here's your change. See, $9.31 or whatever it was." He was like, No. I'll give you a 20. And I was like, I'm the manager on duty, so I got my keys. So I pulled my key out, unlocked my till, and I showed him the 10. I said, "Look, That's what you paid me with right there. That's what you handed me. It's the only 10 in my till. I paid you with a 20. I paid you with a 20. I paid you with a 20. I was like, okay. I will go count my till. It's going to take me about 5 minutes. You go sit down. I'll go count my till. And if there's a discrepancy in the till of $10, it'll be yours. But if it balances, this 10 is yours. Okay? I want my money. Blah, blah, blah. Took my shit in the back, counted it out, brought the reconciliation paper to him, and I said, look, my till is 100% on, within a penny. So you didn't give me a 10, or you didn't give me a 20, you gave me a 10. Do you understand? This number would show a discrepancy. I want my money. Are you fucking, you cheated me, you cheated me, you cheated me. And I said, look, you got your change, you got your coffee, you got two choices. You can leave with your coffee, or you can leave without it. There's no other choice here. You're not getting $10 more out of me. You're not owed $10. You're not going to bang me or this store out of $10. So you can leave with your coffee or you can leave without it. Oh, you cheat me, you cheat me, you blah, blah, blah. You're just going off. And it finally got to the point where I was like, I'm going to call the police and have them come take you out of the store. Do you understand? You call the police on me, I'll call the police on you, you steal my money. So I didn't call 911, I just called the sheriff's department. We had the number right there on the phone. And I just said, look, got a guy over here at the Starbucks on whatever row it was there, Sean Marks. Please send him, somebody down to remove him from the store. And it wasn't long. It was about 3 minutes of him angrily stalking around the store, refusing to leave and shit, that a patrolman showed up. And as soon as the cop showed up, the guy grabbed his stuff and left. And I never even heard from the cop. So he was just waiting for it to be escalated to that point. His honor had been besmirched to the point where he demanded that a public servant come and show their face so that he would leave. I've never had another person dig their heels in that hard. Had a lot of big mouths and a lot of blowhards and stuff come through that door thinking that they could talk to people any way that they wanted, and every last one of them walked out the door when they were told, except him. Yeah, dude, he thought he was going to deal with somebody who didn't know what they were doing, and he was going to bang them out of $10. He probably does it, like, I gotta be honest with you, there are people that do that grift at almost every store. They go up to the front, and they hope that the cashier is weak, and they bully the cashier into thinking they did something wrong, and they get $10 out of that till. And then at the end of the day, if they did it 5 times, they got $50. That's a lot of goddamn money. Lather, rinse, repeat. You know what I mean? You got $40 to $50 a day, just free money. And you get the free food, because he paid me with a 10. He wanted another 10 as change. So that was the grift. I get my food free, and they actually pay me to have coffee. I benefit to the tune of like $15. Cha-ching! It's definitely a hustle. And most people just give it up. He wasn't the first guy to pull it on me, but that was the protocol. The protocol was to examine your till to see if you had the denomination that the person was talking about, and then if the person continued to act like they paid you and you didn't think that they did, you pull your till and you go count it. And if, dude, that tells the tape right there. That's hard numbers. If your till is balanced 0-0, that person is either mistaken or trying to bang you out of whatever denomination that they say they gave you. And you tell them, sorry, look, right here. You show them the till reconciliation. And if they're not willing to admit that they were wrong at that point, they're not going to materialize $10 out of the pocket of the company. Sorry. Just not going to happen.
Do you have any, like, shoplifters?
Yeah. Mostly kids.
Yeah. Like I'm going to steal a coffee mug.
Yeah, they would steal, like, the little coffee carafe things, the little steel cups.
Yeah.
A lot. tea. Hot tea.
You want a fetch?
Give it to me.
Come on. Come on. Thank you, Mama.
New Paul story told. Chad Paul stands his ground against beta male scammer. Wasn't even. I mean, he was trying to alpha. I don't think there was any. I don't think there was any beta involved. Two older dudes walked into a restaurant I worked at. Each ordered a steak. Walked out on you without paying. Yeah, that happens. It's called dine and dash.
Yeah, I feel like the stealing is probably less annoying than like the assholes. Would you say?
It was more rote.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have any like hate in my heart for somebody who tried to steal a mug, and I go like,
Yeah.
hey, you know, there was no like. Most of the times, you know, when I caught somebody doing something like that, all it took was a talk. Never had to call the cops on a shoplifter. It just wasn't worth that to me, like a
Yeah.
mug. Like I was way more defensive of the people I worked with than the product. You know? I really, you know, if I see you trying to take a mug, I'm gonna say, hey, stop it, or whatever. But you know, if I don't see you take it and somebody takes it, no skin off my ass, whatever. They're not paying me to be a guard dog for the mugs. They're paying me to fucking make drinks. Like guard dog for the mugs, hire a fucking security guy.
Yep. You probably fucking threw away just like the worth of 10 mugs every day in terms of drinks that you had to remake and shit like that.
Easily. Yeah. Easily. You stole a coffee bean. That's a hard time. Yeah, I'm gonna get on the fucking horn with the cops because you stole a fucking $10 mug that's actually worth about $2. No. I don't really care. There wasn't a lot of that though. There's not really a lot of desirable crap in a fucking Starbucks, if you're honest. Like if somebody really wanted to make money at a Starbucks, they could try and walk out with one of them espresso machines, but that's a little hard.
Yeah.
You can't like just like tuck an espresso machine under your arm and walk out. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever lost one of those. I don't think I ever came minus inventory on an espresso machine. So on my watch, not a single espresso machine was stolen. That's really the only thing in the store that was of any worth on the resale market. You're not gonna get more than $5 or $10 for a Starbucks mug on the secondary market or whatever.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the little consumer ones. The big ones, you couldn't. It took 3 people to lift them. The ones that we actually used, yeah, those were like $3, $4 grand, $5 grand a piece. Especially in the old days before they moved to the Verismo machines. They've got this like new, the machines that you see them use now are push button Verismo machines. It's a fucking crying shame, bro. There's no art to making espresso anymore. But back in, I worked on a Steam Beast, bro. And yeah, $5 grand, even higher for some of them, depending on how many slots they had. Like some of the bigger stores had 2, 3 slot Steam Beasts. So it was like, you got $10,000 worth of espresso machine, but nobody's gonna lift that. You can't walk away with it nonchalantly. You'd have to come and rob the store for it or some shit. And then you'd have to be able to sell an incredibly rare high-end Italian espresso maker on the secondary market without getting popped. It's not like those pop up on fucking Craigslist every day. You know what I mean?
You're just gonna get caught again. It's like, oh.
Nobody owns them. Like even rich people don't have bars like that. They have single shot espresso makers made by the same company that function the same, but no rich. Maybe Bezos does. I'm just saying, like it's just not something that pops up on the fucking. Hey, dude, I just happen to have a $8,000 Italian handcrafted espresso maker, manual espresso maker that I'm looking to get rid of. All right, you're under arrest. And I was talking about the consumer espresso makers, the little, you go into a Starbucks and there's the merch wall, and then one of the things on the merch wall is like this fortissimo espresso machine, and it's $300. That's what I'm talking about. Why did they change over? It was cheaper to not have to train people, because like when you got hired at Starbucks, you used to have to work there for a couple of months while you were a bar trainee. You weren't even allowed to work the bar. You could do nothing but work register and empty trashes and stuff, and then you would shadow someone on bar during times where it wasn't as busy, so you could start to learn bar. There's a whole craft to it, man. I'm not even joking. Like, people think that making espresso is a super rote thing, and now it is, because it's a push button. There's a machine that does all the stuff that you used to have to do manually. But I was trained on an old manual espresso maker. You had to adjust the grind on your grinders to make sure that you were getting a fine espresso grind, because if your grind was too coarse, water's going to go straight through it. You're going to a weak shot. If your grind is too fine, you're going to get the water's going to take way longer to soak through it, and you're going to get this really dense, ugly, acidic, overburnt shot. So it was about adjusting your grinder manually, knowing how to fucking understand, oh shit, I'm pulling long. Let me feather my grinder a little bit. And then you had to tamp it as well. So you had to, once you ground the coffee, you dosed it into the little, I can't even remember the name of it now. You dosed it into your little pod, and then you had to take a tamper and tamp that pod down with a certain amount of pressure. If you push too hard, you got the same problem. You're pulling a long, dirty, dank, stinky shot. You push too softly, and you got a shot that pours through in 12 seconds and tastes like water. You put the right amount of pressure on the top of that and evenly all around, you get a perfect 16 to 18 second shot. There you go. And you had to manage all of that while also manually steaming any liquid, apple juice, milk, any kind of thing that was incorporated into a drink that needed to be heated up. You're heating it up while you're pulling 3 different pods or 6 different pods worth of shots. Boom, 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 boom. You become a machine, dude. You can't just throw somebody on that. Now with the Verismo machines that they use in these stores, you got 1 day of training. Push this, push that, push this, push this, push that. Ristretto is your favorite shot. How many seconds ristretto, though? Ristretto just means that you like to have your shots a certain time over. So if you do the typical 18 to, well, it's 18 to 21, but I always shot for 16 to 18, or sorry, 16 to 21. I always shot 16 to 18. That's the perfect espresso shot, 18 seconds, in my opinion. But if you had one that went 20 or 21 seconds, it's a good shot by Starbucks standards. So yeah, dude. I mean, you had to time it yourself, and if that shot went over, you had to know better than to pour it into somebody's drink, because if a shot goes over by 2-3 seconds, it's burnt. It's burnt. It tastes like ass. It doesn't incorporate properly with the milk. It doesn't sweeten up with the sugar that you add, and it maintains this dense, acidic bitterness of burnt coffee, and that's on you. You can't take a sip of everybody's shot to make sure it's good, so you got to know that you're technically doing it correctly. Now there's a machine that does it automatically. You press a button, it does all the internal compensations, it adjusts the grind. It all happens internally. There's no external interface for you at all. You just hit the button, you put the cup underneath the little spout, everything in the machine goes, makes the perfect little puck of coffee, and you just move on. Now you're just part of an assembly line where you push a button. A monkey could do it, honestly. I guarantee you could train a monkey to make espresso drinks.
It's probably more of a pain in the ass now with those blended ones.
Well, I mean, the blenders, it's the same thing, man. It's just a process.
Yeah.
It took a while. Like, the blenders didn't come until after I was there about a year. And then they started rolling out Frappuccinos to every store. And it added a whole different, like, one of the things everybody hated about it was how loud they were. Mm-hmm. It turned the environment of the store from this chill environment where you would hear the clinks and the bangs of the espresso,
Mm-hmm.
thing being made, the steam wand screeching, but it was soft enough to where you could sit back, read your paper, and enjoy a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now it was just a place where it was like sounded like a chainsaw going off every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna sit in there and read their paper with a blender going
Mm-hmm.
24/7, 365. Everybody hated it.
And I'm sure it's just like out of the sludge bag.
You make it.
Yeah.
So you're given two components for a frappuccino. One of them is a liquid base that comes in like a paper carton, like a wax paper carton. You've seen it, like where
Yeah.
chicken stock comes in. It's a liquid base that comes in that, and then there's a powdered base that you combine with hot water, and then you mix them in equal parts. So you put the little concentrate base into a tub, put hot water in it until it fills up this much and mix it up, and then you pour two of the liquid base in it. You mix it all up, and you've got your frappuccino base. It's basically a separation of the coffee from the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So the liquid mixture has the milk and sugar and honey and all the crap that goes whatever's in the frappuccino, and then the other one is the instant coffee that goes in it. Pretty shitty. Definitely not the same thing as like an artisan, cappuccino made by somebody who's competent on a manual bar. You can't.
Yeah. I mean, even with the push button, it takes more effort because you got to manually pour in the milk and the sweeteners and all that.
At that
shit.
point, it's just, like I said, it becomes an assembly line thing now. It becomes like recipes were always a part of it, but the art at the heart of the recipe, you had to internalize those recipes. Now it's broken down to where like you don't even really need to know the recipe. Like you can just hit the button and then go by the rules that are right there in front of you. Put 2 pumps of vanilla in it. The machine steams the milk for you. Like steaming milk, that's a whole nother art. You can't just pour the cold milk into the thing, put it on the steam wand and turn it on. You have to aerate the milk by dipping the very tip of the steam wand to the top of the milk to push a bunch of oxygen into the milk before you steam it. And if you don't do that, it screams. It goes, it's really loud. It just sounds like when you've done it right. And now the machines do that. If you watch them, they press a button and the wand dips itself. It goes. It's like all the fucking art out of it. You used to have to two-hand that shit. You'd be steaming with one hand, pulling shots with the other. Like I said, man, you get it. You got to the point where you would internalize that job. I didn't want to do anything else. It was the most engaging part of that job, and easily like my favorite thing to do, because I just felt like I went into this like flow state that made time go by really fast.
You can tell my donut story.
What was that?
Last time I went to Starbucks, I got 2-month-old donuts
Oh
in
my
a
God.
plastic bag.
That is so fucking gross, dude. Yeah, Starbucks has slipped.
Like they were dated and everything, so I knew they were exactly 2 months old.
2 fucking month old donut in a plastic bag.
Like I knew like the little hot sandwiches came in plastic bags because I'd seen them like throw those in the toaster, but I thought the pastries at least would have been like.
I guess not. Gross.
Didn't even like have the heart to like take it out of the bag. Just there you go.
2-month-old donut. Enjoy your fucking luxury experience. Like a coding scene in an action movie, yeah, where all the calculations are flying in, and you're like, because yeah, dude, you really are kind of like the quarterback in the store too.
Yeah.
When you're on bar or whatever, people got to listen to you, and you got to be able to like tell people, hey, I need 2 more people over here. I need another person to come over here and double on bar with me while I get this under control. You got to be able to like.
No, sounds like beep, beep, beep.
Yep.
Doop, doop.
Boop, boop. Put cup. Wait. Pour milk. Pump syrup. Thank you. Boop. That's all that goes into it now. It must take, dude, a day at working at a Starbucks must feel like fucking forever now.
Yeah.
There's nothing to get you in the groove, bro.
Yeah, you don't even have like the effort of like getting out the tongs for like the fresh pastries no more. It's just, let me open up the drawer. There it is.
I lasted a year and a half after the Verismo rollout, which was the worst fucking decision I ever made. I should have quit immediately when they were like, we're taking out all of the artisanship and giving you a shitty push button experience. But yeah, dude, everything just went in the toilet. That's when they rolled out ovens and we started making people egg McMuffins and shit, and baking, like warming up people's cookies for them. And like, I was just like, man, get the fuck out. But that's why they put in the shitty machines, so that you would have more time to focus your day on selling people fucking 2-month-old donuts and shitty ass frozen egg McMuffins.
Like, I think the egg McMuffins at McDonald's are probably fresher.
I know that they are.
Yeah.
They have a little mold where they actually make the eggs and stuff for it. Yeah. Dude, your Starbucks sandwich comes in a weird freezer bag every morning and is put right in the freezer. And when you order a bacon, egg, and cheddar or whatever the fuck, somebody goes into the freezer and grabs this hard lump of frozen shit, crams it in a specially made convection oven, and heats it up for you. Man, nothing like delicious freshness, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's like right around that time, McDonald's started doing that McCafe thing. And honestly, probably the McCafe is better than Starbucks now.
Well, they did it without all the pretense. Yeah. They were so smart.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, they saw the writing on the wall. They were like, why are people really going to Starbucks now? Yeah. Why is it exploding? And there was one word, Frappuccino. Mm-hmm. Caramel macchiato. Mm-hmm. All these big sweet drinks dripping with fucking caramel sauce and filled with sugar and just coffee. And they knew, they're not stupid. They knew we weren't making artisan coffee over there for it. They knew we were mixing some weird chemical potion together. And they're like, hey, we can do that. Yeah. And they did. And it worked. You know, they took a big bite out of Starbucks's market share when it came to those frilly, frothy, froofy drinks, because a lot of people didn't care where they were going. They just wanted to pour a milkshake down their throat at 5 a.m. and call it coffee, you know? So yeah, they just did it without all the frills and all the pretense. And Starbucks kept its, you know, share of the market. There are people that still swear by it. Why, I don't know.
Yeah, their cold brew is like their fancy schmancy thing now.
Yeah, that's a new thing. I couldn't even speak on that. We didn't do that. Starbucks food makes customers want to abuse their employees. Maybe that's true. I don't know.
Dude, they used to be heaven. There used to be this fucking giant pumpkin scone that was probably 1,000 calories that you could just get.
Yeah. Well, they used to ship it every day fresh from a local contracted factory bakery. So it wasn't like it was some like thing that some old, you know, Dutch grandmother was throwing flour on that morning or anything. It came out of a factory bakery, but it was big and fresh. We would get them delivered fresh, not frozen, fresh, wrapped up and ready to be put into the display case and sold every morning. That was part of the deal. And now everything they've got is prepackaged.
Yeah, the display case is like, that shit is like 6 months old now. They probably just spray something on it and fucking...
Yeah. And there's a, you know, dude, I've seen some fucking shit now at Starbucks. Like, there used to be a big standard. Like, for us, there were AM, PM pastries, right? And even though our pastries were delivered that morning, by the time like 6 p.m. rolled around, your scone was not fresh. It had been sitting out all day. And so we pulled them. We didn't sell people stale shit. We pulled it out and we bagged it up to be donated. It wasn't like it was inedible. It was just not, you know, worth the money that was put on there. And so those things would be bagged up and donated to a food bank. And we would roll out our evening pastries, which were mostly cookies, things that didn't go stale, basically. things that were still fresh that day, but still good to sell. So cookies and brownies, those would go out. Little lemon bars and shit. All that shit would go out at night. Little dessert foods. All of it sent fresh that day. And then at the end of the night, part of the closing routine, dump all that stuff into a bag and put it out for the, put it in the back for the donation the next morning. A guy would come in and pick all that stuff
Or your
up.
employees to.
And employees would pick through it, yes, of course. And then, the next morning when the opener gets there, the delivery comes right after they open. They've got all their pastries.
So, yeah. Anyone that's like younger than probably like 19 doesn't even know what good Starbucks is.
Probably not. I mean, like there was.
'Cause I was a child still.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You were real young the last time you could get like a genuinely good made cup of coffee made by an artisan, made by like somebody who was trained in espresso making and shit out of Starbucks. Now you get like the McDonald's version of it.
Yeah.
Like that was really the effect I think that McDonald's had. If anything, it was just solidifying Starbucks' place as we're a typical fast food joint. Fuck, we may put on the airs of being like this, roast espresso, bellissimo, but like behind the scenes, we're mixing a weird dragon potion in a big plastic tub to pour down your
you can't
gullet.
even figure out, you can't even make your own eggs.
Yeah, no. Can't fry your own bacon, can't make your own eggs. Can't get a delivery of fresh biscuits in the morning.
Yeah.
Nothing. No. It's basically like gas station food. Like if you get a Starbucks sandwich, you may as well walk into a 7-Eleven and get a tuna sandwich off of their rack. It's the same crap. And it's been sitting there probably the same amount of time. Dude, I've gotten some. Because, like, sometimes, dude, you're just desperate. You go into a Starbucks, you want the coffee. And then you're kind of hungry, and you look, and you see a sandwich sitting there, and you're like, all right, dude. Floppy lettuce, like lettuce that's just turned to, like, mush. Because it's been sitting there all day. Bread that's just, like, liquidy, dripping. You're just like, who eats this? I guess me.
Got their little fancy schmancy protein boxes now.
Yeah. Dude, you're better off going into one of those, going into a gas station, get one of those burritos and throwing it in the gas station microwave and heating it up.
Yeah, or get the rolling hot dog of doom.
Yeah,
it's probably still fresher.
Yeah, they probably threw that on there like yesterday, and kept it hot. You can see it's still plump and sweating in there. Get it. Get that. You're better off, man. I'm dead serious. There's always a long-ass line at Starbucks nowadays. That's because it's a brilliant company, man. All the stuff that I'm telling you is that Starbucks is no different than a gas station fucking coffee shop. But there are people that still line up around the block because it's a status symbol to have Starbucks.
And now it's de-incentivized from like actually sitting down. So like probably before you couldn't have a line that big because everyone would know like, oh, there's just nowhere to sit.
And they've dominated the coffee market to the point where mom and pop shops can't even stay open in cities. So if you want to sit down and have an espresso, you probably got to go to a Starbucks in most places. If you want to grab an espresso drink, you got to go to a Starbucks.
It's like a protected city. Like when I was in Indiana, I was in like one of those like historic old towns or whatever, so they just weren't allowed to have a Starbucks. So I did get a nice little coffee shop there. Because they were like beaten away with a stick.
It's not like you can't, like in certain large cities, you can still find these little artisanal coffee shops and shit. But in like a city like I grew up in, Starbucks.
Yeah.
Starbucks. That's why there's a line around the fucking block for it, because they've effectively pushed out all their competition. And they've slowly but surely lowered the quality of their food to where they're just ringing the cash register so hard every time your ass walks in the door, they don't even care anymore. Like, they don't care about your experience. They don't care about, how the shit tastes.
They want you to GTFO.
They want you to grab your fucking 2-day-old tuna sandwich and your 6-month-old scone and your weird dragon potion caramel macchiato and get the fuck out so they can pour another fucking gallon of garbage down the gullet of the next fucking hog and on the trough. And man, their business is booming. They're doing real well for themselves as a company. Because you're absolutely right, dude. Every time I drive by a fucking Starbucks, pass by one, it's all like almost always a line.
Yeah.
Day in, day out, morning, noon, night, doesn't really matter. Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, at least that shit is fresh, pastry-wise.
I guess. I don't know how they do shit at Dunkin' Donuts, so I assume it is.
I saw a recent TikTok of them, like, throwing away a bunch of stuff, so
Oh, okay.
I assume it must be fresh if they're dumping a bunch of food
Got
at
it.
the end of the night.
Got it. Well, that's good. It's good to know.
Would have been nice if they donated it, but at least you know.
Yeah.
It's cycled through.
We had times where it's just like, it was hard to find like a place that would take our stuff.
Yeah.
We eventually, at every store I worked at, ended up hooking up with a food bank that would send a dude every morning to pick up a big garbage bag of pastries from the day before. But there were some times where those people would, like, you know, they wouldn't show up for days on end and that shit would just go in the garbage. Like, after a couple of days, you can't serve it to anybody. It's stale or no, it's just, you know, it's starting to fucking get moldy and shit. But, yeah, at the very least, that was happening back when I worked for the company. Now, they don't have to throw their shit away. It's forever stuff. You know, it lasts eternal. It's got a shelf life of...
Yeah. I wonder what, like, their actual standard is. If, like, they're dated.
I'm sure they do. I mean, like, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, if they have these products, they have to be rotated out after a certain point, and there's probably, like, some rules. I don't know. If you got a 2-month-old donut, I really can't fathom what those fucking rules are. I would think that there would be a line somewhere between, you know, just got it in and 2 months where they would throw it away, but I guess maybe you're right. Maybe you got, like, the oldest donut that's allowed to be sold.
Yeah.
Maybe after 2 months they got to throw it away. I don't know what the standards are anymore. All I know is the standards used to be pretty fucking easy to understand. At the end of the day, everything fresh that came in that day that didn't get sold gets thrown out. Not resold, not frozen, not thrown in the fridge to be rolled out tomorrow morning. That didn't start until later. When they started doing those bars. You guys remember the cranberry holiday bars or whatever that they would have? They would have these, like, I don't know, they're like the little fucking donut pastry bars that were all sugary and shit.
Like a tiny strudel or something?
Yeah, like the little mini strudel kind of things. And they would roll out this one that just, like, people would gobble up by the gallon out during the holidays. I was really present at Starbucks during the time when they figured out, like, dude, we can over monetize the holidays. Like, we're leaving a bunch of money on the table. Let's create like 10 drinks that we only released. Oh man, it was brilliant. It got so many fucking people at the trough. We come out with the peppermint mocha and the eggnog latte, and now the one that blew up, it used to be like the least, in fact, we thought they were going to get rid of it when it first came out, the pumpkin spice latte. Didn't go over well. Nobody at the store that I worked at liked it.
Yeah.
And it sold worse than the peppermint mocha and the eggnog
But then,
wine.
like, the whole industry got in on the pumpkin spice, and everything had to be pumpkin spice.
I think what happened is they like threatened to not bring it back, and there was this like fake kind of astroturf movement amongst people. Bring back our pumpkin spice, and now it's just like it's the same shit too. I've seen the tub that they use, and they're using the same syrup. I can't stand them, so I don't get them. But yeah, dude, I remember when those came out, nobody liked the pumpkin spice. Like it was the least selling amongst the holiday drinks. In fact, like the peppermint mocha was the star.
Mhm.
Peppermint mocha frappuccino, peppermint mocha this, peppermint mocha that. It was like that was the holiday drink. And then eggnog was kind of like in the middle. Everybody hated it because it didn't sell enough to justify all the extra work you had to go through to do the eggnog. But people still really liked it, so you had to keep it around. And then there was the pumpkin spice, where every once in a while somebody would be like, "Oh, let me get one of those pumpkin spice." You'd be like, "Really? Okay."
And you get the little powder bag, and
It's just odd. I mean, no, I mean it's a syrup.
yeah.
It's a specially made, really thick syrup that comes in a big plastic tub with a pump on it.
Mm-hmm.
Makes that noise too. It goes. No, it doesn't. But I always imagined it did. It looks like baby poop. It's literally like it smells good. It's got all those caramel, pumpkin kind of spices in it, but it looks like baby poop. It's gross. It's not an appealing color. It's like that yellow brown. Mm. Now it's all about the matcha green tea latte, dude. I fucking hate matcha so much.
They ruined, like, the only frappuccino I liked was the green tea frappuccino, and now it's matcha
Yeah,
frappuccino.
the old green tea frappuccino was pretty fucking dope. A lot of people liked it, and now it's a matcha frappuccino. And I fucking hate matcha. Ugh. Seaweed. Give me a break, bro. No. Give me a seaweed frappuccino. But yeah, Starbucks is very good at like realizing when people are starting to get bored and starting to feel unpretentious by ordering a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good at rolling out something that's really not a new drink at all, but it's new because Starbucks doesn't have it all the time.
Mm. The cold brew is just iced coffee with extra steps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we used to have iced coffee back in the day, and it was fresh brewed.
Yeah.
It was just straight up coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got some weird ass packet of crap they put in the cold brew. So it's like partially like, I don't even know, dude. We used to just brew a big batch of double strength coffee, and that was our iced coffee. Double strength because when you pour it over the ice, it melts the ice a little bit and makes a full strength cup of coffee. That was it. And we would brew it like probably every 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Like if the iced coffee had a 3-hour timer on it, and if it sat in the fridge for 3 hours, it was pretty acidic and old, and we just brewed another batch of double strength.
I think the cold brew like comes as like a thing, maybe.
I don't know. I don't understand it. I've never gotten it, so I'd have to get in on whatever the memes are. Oh, my hair is driving me nuts today. I'm having I just want to chop it all off type of day.
Yeah, it's humid today. That's why.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's just got like little flyaways that are tickling my nose constantly.
Yeah, it's not supposed to rain today, but it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so it's just humid.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna try and put it up a little bit, get it out of my fucking face slightly, maybe, if it'll let me. Now it's out of my way, at least.
Oh my goodness, that was a stretch, Steve.
Adinore.
Dad, you've been ignoring me too long.
What do you mean ignoring you? Come over. Come over.
You know you can do it.
Come on.
No?
Come
Scared?
on. Look, I'll move my knees even closer.
No? Oh. Alright, mister. Well, give it.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Have you ever gone crazy and shaved your head? Yes. I don't think it's all that crazy. Have I ever
For a
shaved?
dude, it's...
But yeah, no.
That's
In fact, that's the last haircut I had. I had hair nowhere near this long, but I had long hair, and TJ shaved it all off for a video. You can actually see the last haircut I had. TJ just took some fucking dog clippers and shaved my head down to the skin. And that was the last haircut I had. In a daze? No. No, never in a daze. The dumbest haircut that I ever got was after a breakup. After my breakup with like my first real long-term relationship or whatever, I had this friend, good guy. He was trying his best to like make me feel better, and he was like, "Man, you know what I do?" Because I was like growing my hair out at that point a little bit. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't super long, but it was growing out a little bit. He's like, "You know what I do, man? When something like this happens, I fuck these bitches, man. Shave my fucking head, bro." I was like, "Man, that's just getting a haircut, bro. That's not." He's like, No. You don't understand. I bick it all the way down to the skin." He's like, "Let me do it to you. Let me shave your head, bro. I'm telling you, man, you feel better. It's like, whatever, bro. Okay. So he's fucking went to work on me, fucking shaved me up, and then he went and got shaving cream and bicked my head down to the skin, bro. And that was how I found out. Not from my mother. That was how I found out that I have a giant, like Rasputin's wine stain on my head. That's how I found out. I never knew my whole fucking life. My mom just didn't tell me.
You were a hairy baby, so she probably didn't even know.
She knew.
No.
When I went to her with it, she knew. And I was like, what do you know, because like I just get it like shaved down even real close, it doesn't show up. You can see it a little bit through, but like, dude, when you take all the hair off my head, it's like I have a yarmulke of just like, and so that was a real bad idea. That didn't make me feel powerful at all.
You were just like, were you just hiding it in the hat until it?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't take long, thankfully. My hair's dark enough that, like, you know, when you got a little bit of growth on it. But yeah, dude, I wore a lot of beanies for a minute. I mean, I still do, but like extra.
Dude, what did your mom do to your head?
Dude, I was huge and she was tiny, and that was it.
You just had the big old birth, and then it just took a break, and then it was just like...
Dude, my whole head had a... Dude, I imagine I looked like a missile right when I came out. But every time my mom would, because people ask that shit about a baby. Oh, he's so big. How big was he when he was born? She'd be like, you know, 10 pounds, 11 ounces. They'd be like, oh, so C-section. She'd be like,
and they'd be like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the equivalent of like you watching someone get kicked in the balls. Is your mom telling that story?
I mean, I don't know. I can't even fathom it. But the proof of it is all over my head. And a big birthing scar right here, where like I can only imagine that my mom's pelvis just like ground my poor little face into dust. Then I've got a similar scar back here. Never told the story of your birth. What kind of epic stuff happened in that story?
You've told it.
Yeah, I've told it before. I was born on April Fool's Day, 1980. And my mom, a notorious prankster, called my dad, who was at work, when she started to go into labor. And my dad, having been pranked by my mother every April Fool's Day since forever, didn't believe her and actually hung up on her the first time she called. He's like, man, I walked all the way out
off the line for this. You just gotta, come on, man. I'm not gonna, I know what day it is. Click. And she had to call back and have him walk all the way back. And by that time, she had called a taxi. She was going on her way. He followed along or whatever. Mom almost had me in the backseat of a car, the backseat of a taxi cab. Got me to the hospital. She went into labor. It was a pretty short labor. It was prolonged only by my size, because I was a goddamn behemoth whale. She squoze me out. Took pictures of my dad, kind of pathologically took pictures of the whole goddamn fucking thing. So I've actually seen myself coming out of my mother. I would not recommend you look at such pictures. Unless you really like deep and abiding existential crises. If that's your like way of getting off, then yeah, that's definitely something you want to look at. But if you have parents that took pictures of that, don't look at it. Take it from someone. I've seen the whole process. I've seen the whole process. I've seen myself all the way from the start to the finish. And
A little piece of your soul died that day.
it really, I mean, I got to be honest with you, changes your whole perspective.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like having an out of body experience.
Yes. I don't think you're supposed to see such things. So anyway,
Shaving your head, bad idea.
yeah,
Bicking your head.
came out with a big head full of dark hair that was almost immediately replaced by strawberry blonde hair, which was immediately replaced by platinum blonde hair. So during my strawberry blonde phase, I literally looked like an angry little drunk leprechaun. All because my mom, people back in the 80s especially, they were picture crazy. Because it was the first time that consumer cameras were really widely available and people started developing their own shots. It went from like a thing you did at the boutique to like a thing you did all the time. And my parents were picture crazy, man. And so I got pictures of my whole little worm ass turning into an adult. And it's very strange to look at that shit, man. Going from a little worm to like a full ass, like, teenager, and then like pictures of you in your 20s and shit. You see the whole fucking transition of your life. It's like, Kodak moment. Yeah, everything was a goddamn Kodak moment. But yeah, you can, dude. One of these days I'll have to take you guys on a tour of Paul. Next time I visit my mom's, I'll just take some pictures of her pictures. I've done it before. But we'll find like some baby Paul. We'll find some toddler Paul. We'll find some, tween Paul. We'll find some, oh man, dude, the teenage years, dude, that arc is tragic. Dude, I look like a little mushroom, man. I don't even know how to fucking say it, dude. You've seen the picture I'm talking about. The one with the big chubby cheeks and I got like a bowl cut. And I'm like, there was a minute there where it didn't look like I was gonna pull out of it, man. My awkward face was brutal.
But you got out of it, man.
I did. Dude, with passion and perseverance, I made my way through it. Do you used to sag? Hell yeah, I used to sag. Not like super sagging, but yeah, everybody sagged, bro. Will there be ancient prophetic drawings foretelling of Paul's coming to the earth? I don't know. What? Did I have 2 chains? No, but I had a mullet at one point because I wanted one. My mom always let me pick my hairstyle. As soon as I started wanting this, that, or the other thing, she would indulge it. Because she figured, like, when you're a kid, you get to have that. The only thing she wouldn't let me get was a mohawk. Because she thought that was just deviant or whatever. But everything else was on the table. If I wanted a buzz cut or a flat top or a mullet, or she even let me get my hair cut like Vanilla Ice. No joke. With the lines shaved into the side and everything. When I was like 8. So I had a lot of self-expression when I was a kid. I'll have to find those pictures. She has to have them somewhere. I know she didn't stop taking pictures.
You just didn't do the dye job. I think that's the only thing you really skipped.
What do you mean?
Like with hair, like getting it dyed.
I bleached.
Yeah.
But never like it just wasn't.
Oh.
I don't know. It wasn't usual. I guess guys would like sometimes get their hair, like, dye their hair all black.
Mm-hmm.
But there was really like not a lot of punky colors and shit. It wasn't in yet when I was a kid. My mom would have whooped me if I dyed my hair. That's sad. Why? Like, over what?
Yeah. Childhood should really be where you just get to do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, I mean, you're like that's what childhood is, a struggle to individuate.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of that is dangerous that you obviously want to steer a kid away from. But like when it comes to like how they conduct themselves, how they present themselves, if you try and suppress their desire to do it as it comes up as a kid, innocuously and innocently, like just changing the way that they look or dress or their hairstyle or something, you got a way bigger chance of having somebody that, if you're afraid of it, has a really alternative look their whole life. Like you're really suppressing a kid's desire to look and act different.
Yeah, it's like if you just let a kid have green hair, they're gonna get tired of it.
Yeah, just let them get the green hair out of their system, dude. Trust me, it's only gonna be fun for about the first little while, and then they're gonna want to change it, and then eventually they're gonna get sick of doing it over and over, and they're gonna want their old hair back, and that'll be that.
But yeah, if you never let them do it, you're gonna get midlife crisis green hair.
I imagine so. I mean, some people do it, and
Yeah.
that's what they want to do, and I'm fine with that. I'm not saying everybody that does it wasn't allowed to do it as a kid or something. I'm just saying, like, if that's what you're afraid of, I don't think you're going to accomplish it by letting the person run around at a school where everybody else has got pink hair, but they're not allowed. You know? Paul, talk about what's happening in Ukraine. Don't tell me what the fuck to talk about. You don't come in here and just fucking tell me what the topic is, bro. You got a question about it? I'd be happy to answer to the best of my knowledge. But don't just expect me to motor mouth about something for you. You want that? There's any number of fucking outlets you can go. I've got like, I don't know how many, 3-4 streams from last week maybe, and maybe earlier this week, where I go in depth on what I think about Ukraine and all that shit. Go watch that.
But Paul, things are happening every day. That makes it different
Well,
somehow.
I'm not your news outlet. My position remains the same. I will tell you this. You know what? You baited me enough that I will mention this. I saw a Vosh tweet yesterday where he's lamenting the fact that Ukrainian soldiers are admitting that they're doing war crimes, basically. And I had to resist with all my fucking might, because I think it just stands. Just like, you've been jerking for this war the whole day, the whole week. And he has no commentary on it. He just posts it. And then the next post that he makes is like a meme about it. It's like you don't feel at all responsible for legitimizing one side of this. You don't think that a more morally sound and people-focused position would have been to immediately start screaming diplomacy, 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 and not materially supported this kind of like rising tide of whatever Ukrainians do is justifiable? It just seems like kind of fake coming from a guy. If you just go to his channel, dude. His whole channel for the last 2 weeks or more is pretty much nothing but Ukraine. Oh my God, war, question mark, war, question mark, exclamation point, war. And now we just get like this sheepish memeing about Ukrainian war crimes and shit. It's just like, man, fuck. But this is what happens, dude. That, like, war is inherently poisonous to political movements, and it starts getting people going like, oh, you know, like, unironically based take from Tucker Carlson on this one, I gotta say, you know what I mean? When you find yourself in the same company as people like Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, and it doesn't give you pause to wonder why you all of a sudden are towing the same line as that person when it comes to the fate of another person across the globe being bombed, and you're involved in the machinery justifying one end or the other of that. Phew. To me, there's no more morally compromised position than you can find yourself in, honestly. It really undermines, to me, anything that you say about the betterment of working class people or people in the developing world. On this issue, he's not, and that's, that doesn't give anybody pause. How is Vosh different from a corporate Dem? On this issue, he's not. On the election of Joe Biden, he's not. In the little in-between times when he's not towing the line for one or the other, he might talk about some radical leftist theory. But when stuff actually happens in the world, where does he line? Where does he find himself? It's real easy to track this when the big issues at hand happen. Like, how did he react when Bernie was scuttled? Did he defend Bernie, or did he just go immediately and jump on the Biden train? Well, he pretty immediately jumped on the Biden train and started scolding Bernie or busters. So that's one point. And then he rode the Biden train all the way out, unironically. Two big world events where he had a chance to have an actual position, and just decided to toe whatever the Corp Dem line was. Now we got war in Ukraine. And if a hot war does break out between America and Russia over Ukraine, then people that materially supported it will have to answer for that. So.
And it's a big distraction, too. It's like, I guess, originally in the State of the Union, Biden was going to bring up the environment, not one word of the environment, because he took up like a third of his speech with Ukraine.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, whatever he said about the environment was just going to be platitudes, just like what he said about Ukraine. But I'm not even just, talking about Vosh here. There's just a lot of people that maybe aren't even aware of Vosh that are just towing that State Department line, towing that American imperialist line, towing that pro-war line, pro-war when it suits us, anti-war when it doesn't. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong to expect him to go and take up arms. You know what I mean? He believed in this from the very jump. He's been very explicitly pro, NATO continuation of the crisis, and fucking, I haven't seen a single Vosh video that has anything to do with diplomacy.
It's like, I think there were like 2 peace talks now, but like they didn't go anywhere, admittedly. But
because there's no political will supporting them.
Yeah.
Look at what the world wants.
Yeah.
Half the world wants war, and the other half wants war. So what kind of and who's involved in those peace talks? Is our chief diplomat over there in those peace talks? Is Putin himself sitting down? No. Who knows? Who knows who's actually in the room at these peace talks? It's not, I'm not going to poo-poo diplomacy, but it seems to me that for something this important, we need to get the leaders of these countries, all of the countries involved. Get the leader of France in there. Get all these NATO countries and have them send their leaders there. And the idea is to come to a fucking resolution that isn't protracted war in Eastern Europe.
know what people want? Banning Russian cats, cat competitions.
Oh my god, just the virtue signaling. Russians can't do this shit. I mean, it's just like I've seen this before. Entire population of people starts to get demonized by everybody on both sides of the aisle. It's just a bloodthirsty thing, and I wish that I could teleport people back. I wish I could take people that are, your age and Vosh's age and take them back and let them be adults in the time right after 9/11 and let them see venom coming out against Muslim people or people that looked vaguely Muslim coming from both sides too. It wasn't just like, you can't just like point your fingers and poo-poo the Republicans or the Democrats on that. Everybody was crapping on anybody in a turban, even though most of the people that you run into that wear turbans aren't even Muslim. They're Sikh. Uh-oh. And it was both sides doing it. It was a bunch of just nasty jokes and a bunch of just like pro-nationalist sentiment. And I see the same shit going on now. To me, it's very much the same song, dude. War sounds the same every time it happens, man. It always comes with a cacophony of normally reasonable people becoming bloodthirsty idiots for a couple of months, at least. And then everybody kind of gets a cooler head, and all of a sudden everybody's against the war. And you're already starting to see that happening. It's like because the internet has magnified and hit the fast forward button on a lot of this shit. You're already starting to see it happen. You're already starting to see people go like, wait, because shit that Ukrainians are doing is pretty fucking monstrous. And they're the sweaty guy looking at the two buttons meme. Support Ukraine, support fucking war crimes.
And it's just so weird that we're in an age now where people can literally directly donate to the military. There was a whole Patreon donating bulletproof vests and stuff, and Patreon took it down, and they're like, no, fuck Patreon! How dare they have a policy to not support war?
It's like you're not gonna fucking run arms into a zero fucking like that's what you want to do? You want to just send guns over somewhere? That's never not worked out in our favor. G-Paul, it's almost like you were right a week ago. It was more than a week ago, but yeah. It's definitely more like I just was right. What are the Ukrainians doing that are monstrous? Well, an official army-affiliated Ukrainian Facebook account posted how their policy was to take absolutely no prisoners, that they were going to, even if somebody begged and says, please don't shoot us, we surrender, they're going to kill them anyway. They basically described war crimes and how they were going to be happily engaging in them. So if you have that on an officially sanctioned fucking government Ukrainian armed forces shit, that shit's happening. People are being executed. Ukrainians, Russians. And it's an ugly business that represents a massive diplomatic failure on the part of the United States and its NATO allies. And here we are, reaping the benefit of it. And nobody's calling for a fix to the diplomatic situation, because at this point, there really isn't one. You can't send Joe Biden in with any good faith. You can't send Kamala Harris in with any good faith. So who do you have that represents any of that power structure that you can have go sit down and do that? Who's the Secretary of State now?
I can't even remember. I'd have to look it up. That's how...
Do we even have a competent Secretary of State that I could imagine being in the same room with Zelensky and Putin?
Anthony Blinken. I guess he's traveling to Europe.
Yeah, he should have already been there. Vladimir Putin, yeah, dude.
Antony Blinken, I guess, not Anthony.
Anthony. Got it.
Do you have any idea?
Nope. I guess defending your country is a war crime, according to Paul. You're pretty dumb, bro.
No. Like, if you capture someone
Yeah.
and they're not threatening you anymore, then it's a war crime to murder them.
Yes. Which is clearly what I said. No matter which side of the war you're on, if you capture somebody and somebody's prone in front of you and begging for their life and you execute them, you have committed a war crime.
It's not self-defense when they don't
No.
have a gun raised at you.
It's not self-defense when they're completely at your mercy and begging for mercy and shit and giving up and waving the white flag for you to line them up against the wall for their perceived crimes and execute them. That's a war crime. And you got official Ukrainian military outlets saying, hey, we're doing war crimes over here, guys. Just wanted to let all our fans know we're having a war crime over here. It's like, okay, uh-oh. But other side bad, yeah. Other side worse. Other side war crime worse. So you really have to pick the lesser of two war crimes. You guys love being a fucking leftist? Lesser of two evils, lesser of two war crimes. You love doing the fucking puppet dance and finding yourself fucking exasperated and wrong all the time? Man, isn't it great? Isn't it fun being a lib? Isn't it fun taking liberal fucking positions on geopolitics and fucking domestic politics? Dude, you really have to do the hard utilitarian math and pick the lesser of two war crimes, dude. Let's say that the Ukrainians execute up against the wall 10,000 begging Russians. And let's say that the Russians execute 20,000 begging Ukrainians. I mean, it's very clear to me which one of those that you should materially support. Lesser of two evilism is what I call it, and I have been calling it. It reduces complex issues to black and white binaries, and people find themselves having to defend absurd things like electing a rapist or supporting a country that's committing war crimes because reasons. Yeah, dude, that's just the cold, hard facts of the matter, man. That's just the utilitarian math, dude. Look, this rapist better, that rapist bad. So, this war crime, horrible. This war crime, you know, I kind of understand it, bro. Clip it, clip whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Snip it, clip it, flip it, wax it up, rub it down. Oh no. Mr. Putin, I got hairy legs now.
Dude, he needed some goddamn Polydent bad in that State of the Union.
And he was bumbling, stumbling, mumbling, fumbling, rumbling, tumbling.
He either said Iranians or Uranians instead of Ukrainians.
Uranians, bro. Dude, Biden's on another planet, man. He's literally talking about the population of Uranus. Uranians, bro.
Either way, it's bad.
We gotta support the Uranians. Yeah, somebody please let Grandpa take a nap.
If people had like Kamala like mouthing like "you idiot" or something after he said that.
Did you see the that Nancy Pelosi where she like the hungry beast inside of her came out and she looked like she wanted to reach out and eat his head or something?
No.
They caught like this moment of Nancy Pelosi where she's like, you know, and it looks like she's lusting after the back of his skull for a second, and then she like turns it into a normal expression.
Yeah, the fucking White House stream just like cut off their faces after a certain point.
Yeah, it was odd. Yeah, dude, they were headless. They used to do a wider shot so you could see both of the people sitting behind them and their reactions and stuff.
And then Kamala had an existential crisis, and then after that point, it was just like,
yeah, dude, the MK Ultra programming started to slip on Kamala, and she had this like fucking moment where she looked like she was staring at Cthulhu himself, bro. I shit you not, it was odd. And then the camera cut away from her, and we never saw Kamala Harris again on the official stream the whole night. It was odd, dude. But did Kamala mouth "you idiot" at some point?
She mouthed something after he said Uranian/Iranian.
She probably said Ukrainian,
Yeah.
trying to like fucking like psychically like, oh God, Ukrainian. But that would look like "you idiot," Ukraine, you idiot. Uranian, bro. Oh my fucking God. Imagine unironically supporting this guy. Oh my fucking God, bro. Imagine being in that position, dude. Imagine it's 2022 and you support the guy that fucking called Ukrainians Uranians and Iranians more than he called them Ukrainians in his fucking speech. Oh my fucking God, bro.
And then
Imagine thinking that the side that guy's on has got it figured out, bro.
the other thing he said, I think that you guys skipped it when he covered it, was like he said, "Let's not defund the police, let's fund the police."
Oh yeah, dude. They've not learned a single thing. Do you remember all that material support a lot of people on the fucking liberal left were giving to the BLM protests and shit? Dude, they haven't learned a single thing. Fund the police. Bruh. And dude, where's the unironically based commentary, dude? Vosh's channel has been like, he didn't do anything. He didn't cover it. There's been no fucking like, where's the like Biden's based State of the Union? Where's that at, man? We got it the first time. What happened to that? Based. It's on his Vosh Pit channel. Oh. Does he just screech about how based it is the whole time?
Says the title is "It Lacks the Fire Needed to Galvanize the U.S. People."
What? That's a good way of saying it was a total fucking bumbling, stumbling, mumbling, crumbling failure. Wow. So it's gone from like main channel video to side channel video with the most apologetic way that you can say a fucking speech sucked.
Lacks the fire.
It lacked fire. It lacked basic competence, let alone fire. Your guy's never, he wasn't capable of fire when you elected him. Oh my God, bro.
The sign language interpreter was 100 times more animated.
I wanted to
than he
elect her
was.
president.
Yeah.
I was ready to elect her president. She was amazing.
That's the only tolerable way to watch the speech. And even then.
And what is he talking about? Galvanize the American people behind what?
I don't know. It's
He
an
expected-
hour and 40-minute video. So
He expected doddering old Biden to galvanize people? What, bro? Rent-free. Dude, extra rent-free with you because here you are, bro. Here you are listening to it and taking one side or the other in it, bro. So extra rent-free with you, homie. You're over here lapping up the tea, bro. So if it's rent-free for me, dude, it's fucking, dude, you're getting actually paid to live there. You got a reverse mortgage on that fucking shit. So rent-free. The fuck, bro? Guy's literally like, you can't go on a fucking social media website and escape him. He's trending everywhere. Everything he says, he's got this like legion of little bobblehead Pepe poster fans. And he's literally like an unironic anarchist that's unironically supporting NATO and talking about how the hierarchical structure of NATO is a good thing and based. War is based. Ukrainian people killing Russian people is base. For some reason, this crazy fucking anarchist that's against American empire and against imperialism finds himself on the, aligned directly with the fucking American corporate interest. I'm going to talk about it. If that makes it like a rent-free situation when it's brought up every fucking 10 seconds in my chat, and usually I don't even address him. Nah, dude. He's associated with people who are like politically adjacent to me.
Yeah, he's like
I get thrown in the same basket with Vosh, and I don't want it. I want people to know that like that's not where I'm at. And it's been a never-ending fucking trudge of bobble-headed, easily fucking manipulated little kids who treat this like it's a wrestling match. Like I'm Andre the Giant and he's Hulk Hogan, you know? Which is fucking garbage, dude. The moment Vosh has like, no reach is a moment you'll hear me not talking about him. But as long as he's on the left and calling himself labor adjacent and shit, I'm in the same basket as him. I got to answer for some of the shit that he says. That's just the way it works. Like, it's your duty. If you're on the left and you find people doing things that you think are distinctly right-wing and you don't call it out, what kind of leftist are you? Why not talk to him? You set it up.
Already happened twice.
I've talked to the dude twice. And the only thing that like came of it was like, if you actually read the comments on it, people are way more fucking justified. But the only thing that came of it for me is I got like an army of people that follow me everywhere I go that go like, how's it feel to lose a debate to Vosh? I never had a debate with Vosh. You can't lose a conversation, homie. Cope. It's like, oh my God, man.
Rent free.
What is this? What is this? Rent free, bro. Oh, shit.
Premiere's starting soon.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Go watch the DFF premiere. It is about cool sci-fi guns from movies. It's a Paul episode. It is good. You will learn about a gun that fires literal human teeth and is made of chicken bones. Yes, the gristle gun from Existence is being covered along with a number of other strange and unique and interesting science fiction weapons in just a few minutes over on Deep Fat Fried. Don't miss it. I want everybody to go over there. Tell them Paul sent you to watch Paul. Bye.